Hey guys, how's it going? Been a little while. Little while. It's been a tiny while, but it's been good. I'm very looking forward to making this video, and it's actually, I don't want to cheapen this at all actually. I want to kind of take care of this video, because yeah, it's definitely, once you see what it's about, well, some of it I guess, you'll know what I'm saying. But I just had a thought. First off, I want to share that at the singles conference this past weekend, one of the really wonderful instructions we were given by the Lord through Sister Yi, which was so wonderful, was never repress a generous thought. Never repress a generous thought, or never withhold a generous thought. And there's going to be times where you want to say something to somebody, but you're wondering if you should say it because you're not sure. Do it anyway. I had a really, really awesome experience with that. And I don't want to take too much time dilly-dallying, talking about other things before I talk about the one thing I really want to talk about. What this video is basically about. So I'm going to get to that right now, and I'm just going to say, that I'm really, really sad and really, really sorry, and yes, very sad, that Chester Bennington passed away. And this isn't even recent. This is like years ago, actually. But for those of you who know, you might know, but if you don't, Chester Bennington was the lead singer, the co-lead singer, basically, of the band Linkin Park. And I'm like passing a lot of energy, I think, while I'm saying this. And Linkin Park was a really big band in America and throughout the world. Hard rock, nu metal, alternative rock, and also alternative and pop even. Linkin Park, I can't really begin to explain how big and how important Linkin Park was and is to a lot of people. Whoa, just got a really big change of frequency in my ear. That was very interesting. But it was very, 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 very big, very special, very important. And it's one of those things you just don't really question. It was just such a core part of life. It's so hard, and we learn this lesson again and again when we lose people, when we lose big icons like Lane Staley. You know, he did battle addiction for a long time, and he was kind of, I guess, maybe down and out for a while. But still, Kurt Cobain, when we lose these big stars, Chris Cornell, that's an insane loss. These are unfathomable losses, and I'm taking the time to share my thoughts and make kind of a tribute video about these things, about these people we've lost, specifically Chester Bennington. This isn't normally something that I do. I don't usually think about this kind of stuff. Like, the people around me usually mourn the loss of these wonderful people, and we see it in the media a lot, but I usually just take it and just go like, dang, like I can't even, like, I guess I just kind of process it silently and in slow motion. Or not at all, but I think more so that, silently in slow motion. But I just wanted to take a little bit of time to share my experience, memories, and what Chester Bennington meant to me, and what he still means to me, because the music still lives on. That's very true. And while that's not as comforting as it could be, it's still true. I'm really battling the heat here in this car. It's hot. And I got an air conditioner, but it only goes so far. But Chester Bennington and his music helped me a lot. It helped me growing up. It helped me feel like I had an identity. It helped me have more of a sense of who I was, who I am. And it really helped me deal with things. And I know I'm not the only one. That's the biggest thing. I'm not like a rare case. This is true for a lot of people. I would say even probably maybe millions of people can relate to what I'm saying right now. Yeah, absolutely they can. And specifically with Chester Bennington and Linkin Park. Chester Bennington was awesome. He was awesome. He was that guy. You know, he was that guy. And if you didn't like hard rock or heavy metal or whatever, or new metal or whatever, then you didn't really know. Because a lot of people, back in the day, it was split between basically rock and hip-hop, or rock and rap. You either like one or the other. And then some people like country. Some people like all those poor people. But, and so if you knew rock, and once you get into metal, there's like a lot of elitism and things like that about like, oh, we hate this band, that band is gay, this band is gay. You know, you're a fag if you listen to this band, you're a fag if you listen to that band. Sorry to use these words, but that's just the reality of the way people are sometimes. That's what was said. That was the culture. And so you would get a lot of hate. Like you could only like Linkin Park for so long, because then if you didn't start getting into like Dimmu Borgir, Slipknot, Children of Bodom, if you didn't start getting into the heavier stuff, then you know you were just really like a noob and you weren't that hardcore. But that's a whole separate conversation. But basically, Linkin Park was and is amazing. And one thing that stands out to me specifically about Chester and something is I feel like he did carry a burden. He did carry a cross in a way, in a lot of ways actually. And the band became insanely famous. And they went from underground to tops. They went to the Grammys. They went to the top of the mountain. You know what I'm saying? They became worldwide platinum selling artists, basically. Pretty sure they're platinum. Pretty sure. Most likely. And but one thing I noticed about Chester Bennington, and something that I noticed very early on, was he was able to articulate a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean specific. I mean feelings. He was able to articulate a lot of feelings into words, and they were mostly about relationships. They were a lot about strife, and they were mostly about. Some of them were even about addiction. Some of them were about self-confidence, self-doubt, believing in yourself, being in a toxic relationship, needing to get away from this person who's caused you this harm, needing to find yourself. Leave me alone, I just need to be myself. And, you know, while that sounds so emo on the surface, it's more legit than it's emo. Because that's a very important concept. We need that in our lives. We all encounter people sometimes where they don't make us feel like ourselves, and we can't really be around them because it's so detracting and distracting. We can't really spend time around those people. We have to be ourselves, you know? And that's a big deal. And Chester put a lot of that into words. He vocalized so much. Not just literally, he's a beautiful singer, amazing screamer, amazing harsh vocalist. However you want to say that, he was amazing. And such an amazing, beautiful person. Such a beautiful person. And, I mean, I didn't know him, but I'm just saying, like, from what I could see on the outside, from my perspective as a normal person, seeing him. And so his music really helped me get through a lot. And it still does. And it still exists. And it's still a part of me. And reminds me of so many of his songs, like, and now you've become a part of me. It's just so good, though. But he has, like, so many... all of his songs are good. I can't do it justice singing here and talking and trying to sing. But it's his music is so good. And I just really appreciate him. I really appreciate Linkin Park. I appreciate what they meant to me, what they still mean to me. over this period of time since 2001, actually probably the year 2000, actually 1999, 2000, and then 2002 or 3 when Meteora came out. They were the shiz. They were them guys. They were that band. They were legit. They were so cool. And they still are. They still are. And they even changed their sound, and they grew, and they matured, and they made different music, slower music, poppier music, more alternative, atmospheric, I guess, music. But they were so good. And it is such a massive loss that we don't have Chester Bennington with us anymore. I just want to take the time to point that out, to point out the world without Chester Bennington. It is not a world that we should prefer than the world with him. You know what I'm saying? He made such a difference in people's lives. And I know, and I'm not fighting the tide, I know there's a reason for everything, and there's a time for everything, and there are choices and consequences. And I'm not saying he chose to die or anything like that. I don't think he killed himself at all. I think he was killed. But anyway, regardless of why and all of that, we were really blessed to have him, and we're still blessed by his music, and still blessed by the impact on the genre, the impact on music in general that he left. Do yourself a favor and listen to Linkin Park. Listen to old Linkin Park, okay? Yes, they changed their sound, I know. But listen to the old Linkin Park, okay? Listen to Hybrid Theory, that album, and listen to Meteora, that album. And, I mean, listen to songs like Numb. Listen to songs like Crawling. Songs like Somewhere I Belong. Listen to songs like Faint. Listen to songs like Don't Stay. Paper Cut. Points of Authority. There are so many. Both albums are solid, non-skip albums. Totally. 100%. And so I really want you to enjoy that. I want you to appreciate Chester. And so yeah, anyway, Chester was amazing. He was amazing. And it's so sad that he's gone. It's unbelievable that he's gone, honestly. It's unbelievable that he's gone. He passed away in like 2017. It's 2025. And I still haven't processed the fact that he's gone. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that he's gone. Because why would he be gone? Why did he die? Why did he have to die? Why? I don't get it. Like, why? You know? Why? He should still be here, you know? That's my feeling. And so, anyway, I just wanted to share this video and talk about that a little bit. And I do want to circle back to a cool moment here. And I talked about this in the beginning. And hopefully I want to continue talking about Chester in the future, in future videos. I don't want this to be my done. I don't want this to be my one and done. I don't want it to be a one and done at all. Because I don't want to lose the memory of him and the memory of his music and the effect. And he was so cool. He had like flame tattoos around his wrists, like starting a circle and then it goes up his arms. He had like bleach blonde spiked hair. He had those cool sunglasses, you know what I'm saying? He had those cool like early 2000s sunglasses. Like I'm trying to say, like this guy was the man. Like if you wanted to be cool, you were Chester. That's who was cool. Chester Bennington. That was cool. That dude was cool. And he had like these light blue lens sunglasses. Just so freaking cool. He was so chill and he just had his style and he'd just be singing and just like, oh my gosh, like this guy was he was the freaking man. Like that's all I can say. He was the freaking man. He had pipes. He could write. He could sing. He could scream. He could throw down. He could make you feel things. And he could help you process your emotions, process trauma, and process all these things. He had that. And I think in a lot of cases he was doing those things as he was recording and making and writing this music. So I want to circle back to something I started to say earlier, just this really cool example. And it ties into, and I think this theme actually ties into Chester as well. And I think, yeah, he would definitely support this. He would definitely support this. I know this is the type of person that he was. about never squander a generous thought. Never squander a generous thought. Share those generous thoughts. Share them with people. Tell them that thing. You think their shoes are awesome? Tell them how awesome their shoes are. Dude, I really like your shoes, man. I think they're really awesome. Like, those are really sick, dude. You know? Or, man, you know what? Hey, I really like your hair. Your hair is really pretty. Like, yeah, I just want you to know that it is really pretty. I think it's really pretty, and you know, you should be happy because it's pretty, and or whatever it is, whatever the compliment is, you know. And so I'll share this experience with me, and this is one that paid off, and it was just such a savory experience. So at the conference on Sunday, the last night, I was hitting it off with this girl who I was starting to like and really like being around, and we sat together in the last talk, and like it was kind of like a church service for you guys who don't know, and sitting next to each other. I was sitting there, and I got this thought, and a lot of times I get thoughts and I say no, you know, or at least I get these thoughts. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do that, or like no, I shouldn't do that, or no, I don't think I can do that, I can't do that, no, I don't want to do that, no, you know. And these thoughts are also known as impressions. The first one I got was to ask her for some gum or some mint, because that's something I wanted. I wanted that. I didn't have that, and I forgot to bring it, and I thought I had it with me, and I couldn't find it, and I needed it. I knew my breath was not that great, but I just needed it, you know, and wanted it, and so I asked her if she had a mint or gum, and she just looked at me like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah, yeah, I do. And I was like, okay. So she pulls out her little thing, her little tube of mint gum, and she's like, sprinkle it into my hand. And like everything about this was just so special to me, you know. I just, I feel it in my heart. And she gives me this gum, and she's like, this is a mint. It's not a mint, it's gum. You know, it's gum. She's like making sure I knew that so I could chew it, you know, I guess. But she gives it to me, and I'm like, thank you. And then it's so funny now, because now that it's happened and now that the moment's passed, it's so much different than it was before I chose to say this. But I want to illustrate, there's a night and day difference before I said it and after I said it. I wanted to tell her, and I felt this deeply about her, that I wanted to tell her that she was the best, because I meant that, and I felt that, and I wanted to share that with her, and I felt it deeply. I just wanted to tell her that, you know, you're the best, you know, and like I just wanted to share those feelings that like I really like you, you know, but like I don't just really like you, I really like you, you know, and I think you're really awesome, you know. And so I was thinking about telling her she's the best, and then I felt like immediately I was like, no, you can't say that. That's like so overrated. That's so over the top. Like that's, you know, you're spreading it on too thick. You can't be saying that kind of stuff. You know, all these kinds of thoughts, right? And so I didn't say it. And then I remembered about never repressing or denying a generous thought. And that is a generous thought. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to just tell her. So I turned to her and I said, you're the best. And I'm smiling now. It didn't come out that way. I'm smiling. But I told her you're the best. And she looked at me and she was like, I know. And I was like, yes. This is so cool. This is so cool. So, yeah, anyway, that's my short story, and you should never repress a generous thought, ever. It will always pay off. Charity, remember this phrase, and it's true. Charity never faileth. Never. If you're wondering what to do, be charitable. Help someone. Be friendly. Be generous. Smile at them. Say hello to them. Be kind to them. Acknowledge them. Look at them. Acknowledge them. Smile at them. Be friendly, you know. Say this, compliment them. Tell them something. Tell them something nice. Be nice. It doesn't have to mean this. It doesn't have to mean that. It doesn't mean that you're in love with them. It doesn't mean that you're flirting with them. It doesn't mean that you're, trying to influence them or trying to get a reaction out of them or anything like that. It doesn't mean those things. It just means you're nice. And it means you actually took the time to say this nice thing to them. And that's a wonderful thing. So let's not repress our generosity and our charity, okay? And I share these thoughts with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. And listen to Chester Bennington. Listen to Linkin Park. Listen to Numb. Actually, watch the music video. Watch the music video for Numb by Linkin Park. And watch some other music videos by them. Very, 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 very good.